Welcome to our explainer on the incredible engine inside every single one of us, our muscular system. It's this powerful, self-healing network that literally turns chemical energy into pure physical motion. So let's just start with a simple question. I want you to think for a second. What is it that's powering everything you do? Right now, from the blink of an eye to the very thump-thump of your heart. Well, the answer is this amazing, intricate network of over 650 muscles. I mean, think about that number. They make up a whopping 40% of your total body weight, and they are always at work, whether you're out running a marathon or just sitting here watching this. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture of what this system does for you. Then we'll zoom all the way down to the molecular level to see exactly how a muscle moves. And finally, we'll zoom right back out to see how this all comes together in our everyday lives. First things first, let's just take a moment to appreciate the sheer scale of the muscular system. You know, it's not just about lifting heavy things at the gym. It's involved in pretty much every single process that keeps you alive. Your muscles are responsible for literally every movement you make. It takes a coordinated effort of 200 different muscles just to take one single step. But they also do all the stuff we never think about, keeping us standing upright, pumping our blood, digesting our food, and even generating about 85% of our body heat to keep us warm. Now, what's really fascinating is that this massive system isn't made of just one thing. Nope. It's actually built from 3 totally distinct types of muscle, and each one has a very specialized job to do. So here are the key differences. You've got skeletal muscles. Those are the ones you consciously control, like when you decide to flex your bicep. Then there's cardiac muscle, which is a total specialist. It's only found in the heart, working tirelessly on its own. And finally, there's smooth muscle, the real unsung hero, lining your internal organs and managing things like digestion without you ever giving it a second thought. And you'll notice that both skeletal and cardiac muscle are striated. That just means they look striped under a microscope. All right, you ready for this? We're about to go on that journey I mentioned, zooming deep inside a single skeletal muscle to see how it's built, from the outside all the way in. The absolute best way to think of a whole muscle is like a thick, sturdy rope. It looks like one solid thing, doesn't it? But it's actually made of many smaller bundles of fibers all wrapped together to give it strength. Now, each of those smaller bundles inside that big rope is called a fascicle. And a fascicle is really just a collection of the individual muscle cells themselves, which we also call muscle fibers. And now we're down to the cellular level. A single muscle fiber is a long, super specialized cell, and it's absolutely packed with things called mitochondria. Think of them as tiny power plants, and multiple nuclei, which kind of act as the cell's command centers. But believe it or not, we can go even deeper. Inside that single fiber are thousands of even smaller parallel threads. They're called myofibrils, and this is where the real magic of movement actually happens. These myofibrils are divided into these little repeating segments called sarcomeres. So here's the crucial point, the whole secret. For an entire muscle to contract and create movement, millions of these tiny individual sarcomeres all have to shorten at the exact same time. So how on earth does a sarcomere even shorten? Well, it all comes down to what's basically a microscopic love story between 2 tiny protein strands, a thin one called actin and a thick one called myosin. The fancy science name for this is the sliding filament model, and it's this incredible process where the thick myosin filaments grab onto and pull the thin actin filaments, making them slide past each other. Just imagine pulling a rope hand over fist. That's exactly what's happening, just on a microscopic scale. And this whole thing happens in 4 lightning-fast steps. First, a signal zaps down from your brain. That signal triggers the release of calcium. The calcium then acts like a key, allowing actin and myosin to bind together. The myosin pulls, bam, contraction. And then, just as quickly, the calcium is pumped away, the proteins let go, and the muscle relaxes, ready for the very next signal. Okay, let's zoom back out. Now that we've seen all that microscopic action, let's connect it to the actual movements we make every single day. A really key principle to understand is that muscles can only pull. They can't push. Because of this, they almost always work in opposing pairs. So when you bend your arm, your biceps contracts and gets shorter, while your triceps on the back has to relax and lengthen. And to straighten your arm, they do the exact opposite. It's a perfect partnership. And what's really cool is that our muscles have different types of fibers for different jobs. You've got fast twitch fibers for those quick, powerful bursts like sprinting or jumping.
And then you have slow twitch fibers. These are your endurance cells that can work for much longer periods, perfect for just maintaining your posture all day. And this is exactly why some athletes are just naturally built for sprints and others are built for marathons.
So, given how incredibly hard your muscles work for you, it's pretty vital to know how to take care of them and what to do when those minor problems, like strains, pop up. For a lot of common muscle strains and general soreness, you can often manage them right at home using the simple and super effective RICE method. It stands for rest, ice, compression, and elevation. It's a classic for a reason. It just works. Of course, and this is really important. Please remember, this is all for educational purposes. You should always talk to a healthcare provider for any real medical concerns, especially if you have pain that's severe or just won't go away, or if you have serious symptoms like trouble breathing. So, to wrap this whole thing up, if you remember anything, remember these 5 crucial points. Your body has over 650 muscles of 3 different types. They're built in bundles, just like a rope. That contraction happens because tiny proteins slide past each other. They work in pairs to create movement. And finally, regular exercise and a good diet are absolutely key to keeping them strong. You know, every single moment of your life, your body is performing this incredible feat of biological engineering. It's turning the food you eat into every movement you make. So I guess the only question that's really left is, how are you going to use that incredible power?